Hello, it's me again with Sandy Cogdell Designs, and today I have a fun little project. It's a little bit different than a greeting card. I am in love with the new Trinity Stamps Milky Way stamp set. I just think the cow flying through space is hysterical. So I had the Milk Carton Die Set, and I thought, gosh, it'd be fun to make some little like party favors or giveaways. So that's what I set out to do with this. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you want to be notified of future videos. You can follow me on Instagram at Sandy Cogdell or on my blog, www.sandycogdelldesigns.com. Okay, let's get started. I'm starting out with a piece of white cardstock that is 6 by 6. I am going to start with Salty Ocean Distress Oxide ink. And I'm going to start inking it in the center of that piece of cardstock. That seems like an odd spot to start, but I'll explain what I'm doing in just a bit here. After I get that applied all the way across that piece of cardstock, and it is pretty heavy because I wanted a real vivid color, I will go in and I'm going to ink those outside edges at the top and the bottom with Blueprint Sketch. The reason I'm doing this is on each one of the cartons, there are 4 little square panels, and I wanted to have a gradation of color on each one. So in order to make use of my cardstock, I thought, well, I could just put the darker color on both upper and lower edge and then line my die up with those things. That way I could also play around with how much gradation I wanted on that little square. Once my ink had dried on the cardstock, I went ahead and used the new Starfield letterpress plate and applied some silver glimmer foil to it. I just wanted a little bit of extra sparkle on my piece. As you can see, I am lining up that little square piece on my cardstock with the gradation of the darker blue at the bottom of my square. As I was gluing these pieces on, I didn't realize, I thought the die was a perfect square, and it's not. It's just a little bit off. So some of my squares around the bottom of my milk cartons are actually not the exact same size. Is it a deal breaker? Does it show? Absolutely not. It's just something you might want to be aware of in the future. I went ahead and marked my die with just a Sharpie to let me know which is like the one side that I'd want to have pointing up, if that makes any sense. Next, I'm going to use the die to cut out 2 of the milk carton shapes from the black cardstock. If you'll notice, there's 2 little tabs that stick out from the side on the left. They kind of have like an angular piece. I'm going to use double-sided adhesive tape and just put a small piece of tape on each one of those. I believe I'm using my tape that's about 1/4 of an inch. They're not very big. Next, I'm going to adhere my little squares and rectangles that I cut out of my inked paper and put those on my little milk carton pieces before I start folding and assembling it. You could put those on after you've assembled the carton. I just think this is much easier to try to get them lined up straight and to kind of help you not get confused. Also, in this die set, there is a die that would cut out that little triangular piece where the carton closes. I decided that I didn't want to put that on there. I just felt like it was kind of distracting from that side panel, so I did leave that off. Now we need to start folding our little carton so that we can put it together. I don't think you can really see it too well on the video, but when you die cut this piece, it also embosses lines, so you know exactly where to fold on the carton. I just go ahead, follow those lines, gently fold it back with my fingers, and then I use my bone folder to kind of give that a good crease. I just find that without using the bone folder, you can still get a fairly good crease, but I think the bone folder just adds that extra bit of pressure that really helps make that carton go together well. Now that I have all of my folds, I'm going to go ahead and attach the two pieces together. So I'm going to start with the first side. I'll peel off my double-sided adhesive tape, and then I'm going to line up the edges of those embossed lines where I did the folding so that I can get nice sharp corners and keep everything very even. Once I get the one side done, I'll go ahead, form my little carton shape, peel off the other two pieces of adhesive, the tape, what do I want to say? The protective tape on the pieces of adhesive, and line those up and seal off the other side of that box. When I'm done doing that, I will take a little bit of liquid glue and put it on two of the flaps at the bottom of the carton. Get those closed up, and then I kind of want to make sure that I still have a pretty decent perfect square. And I set that down on my work surface, and I'm just placing a bottle of water. It's one of my spritz bottles. A bottle of water on the inside just until it dries. I suppose that you could use liquid glue on those side tabs. I just think that using black paper that kind of shows if you have any glue squishing out probably isn't the best idea. That's why I use the adhesive tape on those tabs. Okay, now it's time to start coloring our little cows and our signs. I've used the Milky Way stamp set, and I will be using the coordinating dies to cut these little guys out. For the cow, the colors that I am using, and these are all Copic markers, are E50, E51, E53. That's the body of my cow. And then for his little spots, I use E53 again, E55, and E57. His udder is R11, R20, and a little bit of R22. The little helmet that goes around his head, I used B0000 and B02. His little air pack or whatever that is on his back, I used orange, and I used YR02 and YR18. For my sign, I wanted that super bright, so I used B01, B14, and B18. Y02, Y08, Y19, and YR02, YR09, and YR18. I think that blue is just really a nice looking electric glue. Once I got done coloring these and cut them out and started looking at where I was going to apply them on my carton, I quickly determined that I needed a few more images colored up because the sides were just kind of bare and that top piece above the clown and the sign was kind of bare. So I went back to the stamp set. I stamped out some stars, the little flying saucer, and that funky little shape that's kind of like a warped moon, I guess. It's very 50s. And I colored those in using the same colors that I had used on the sign to finish up the coloring for this project. Okay, now it's time to start adhering all my little cutout pieces to my milk carton. I am using liquid glue. I suppose you could use the adhesive tape. I myself am definitely a glue girl. I try to use that as much as I can. I've had problems with the tape sticking over a period of time on my cards and my different projects. So whenever possible, I do use glue. Anyway, once these get all done, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to keep them shut. I wanted something kind of cute. I thought about maybe a little clothespin, but then I thought, no, let's just tie it with a little piece of ribbon. I was hoping I had some black gingham ribbon in my stash, but I didn't. I did have yellow, so that's what we're going to go with. I punched a hole in the top of that flap that closes at the top. Full honesty, I didn't want to dig around for a round one, so I used a star one, which kind of doesn't let that ribbon kind of look real good, but I guess I was being just a little bit lazy. And that pretty much does it for this project. You may wonder why I did 3 cartons when I really only needed to do 1. It's because as I was making the first one, I thought, oh, that's going to look kind of weird just photographing one when I had 3 different sides to show. Plus, photographing it, 1 wouldn't look real good, 2 would look odd, so 3 would make a much better picture. I'm just weird. Anyway, go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. You can subscribe to be notified of future videos. You can also follow me on Instagram at Sandy Cogdell or on my blog, www.sandycogdelldesigns.com. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and I hope you've been inspired, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.